This is CNN Breaking News.
I'm Jean Meserve in Washington. In Paris, France tonight, a tragedy. Britain's Princess Diana has been in an automobile accident. She has been injured. Her companion, Dodi Al-Fayed, with whom she has been romantically linked over the past month or so, reportedly was killed, as was the driver of the car. One of Diana's personal bodyguards was also in the car, and the guard was injured. This accident happened in Paris, in a tunnel along the Seine River. According to some reports, paparazzi, photographers, were chasing the car in which the princess was riding, apparently in an effort to get her photograph. And we have spoken to several eyewitnesses. Two of them said that they heard a loud screech and a crash. They ran to the tunnel. As they went towards the car, a man ran from it, waving them off. They had the impression the car was going to blow up, so they backed off. Later, they said they went forward. They could see one airbag deployed. They could not make out any people inside or the status of their injuries. They said 5 to 7 minutes later, emergency vehicles did show up, and Diana has been evacuated to a Paris hospital. We know nothing about the nature of her injuries or the extent of her injuries at this time, but again, Dodi Al-Fayed, her companion, reportedly was killed in this crash in Paris tonight, which happened about midnight Paris time. According to some reports, they had had dinner at the Ritz Hotel and were on their way to Al-Fayed's apartment. Siobhan Darrow is... Please stay on the set first. We'll be talking with you more. But right now on the telephone, we have the actor Tom Cruise. Mr. Cruise, I understand that you, too, have been targeted by the paparazzi, as Princess Diana has been. Tell us about that situation. How bad does it get?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Certainly. You also have been targeted by the paparazzi. Just how intrusive are they?
Well, first of all, I just like to say my wife and I have met both Dodi and Princess Diana, and they're just really lovely people, and it's devastating for us hearing this news. And I was particularly surprised by the woman from the Globe saying that most celebrities participate in this kind of thing, which that is an absolute lie. That we cooperate in any way whatsoever. That is a lie, and it has gotten worse when people have put a price tag on someone's head.
How bad has it gotten for you personally?
I beg your pardon?
How bad has it gotten for you personally?
Oh, you're with these. I've actually been in that same tunnel being chased by paparazzis, and they run lights, and they chase you and harass you the whole time. It happens all over the world, and it has certainly gotten worse. And I was absolutely appalled to hear that the Globe would even possibly consider buying the pictures. You know, not only do these guys harass and chase people, but now they're going to benefit financially by having been there and take this photograph. I think what is the world coming to? This is absolutely, it's so disgusting.
In your opinion, why has the situation gotten worse? Why have they become more aggressive?
Well, I think we need laws for what is harassing an individual, and when these people would put price tags on people's heads. If there's a price tag that these people put on, that we will give you X amount of dollars. And I've been in cars with my children and my wife, and even times when I haven't been there, and just our children, and had to drive over to find a police officer and say, "Look, could you help me? And these people saying, "Well, we're press," and it's a tragedy. This is a tragedy. You look what happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger just a few weeks ago, with months or whatever, with he and Maria. It is escalating at this point, and we're just devastated about this.
Is it conceivable, even understandable to you, that Princess Diana and her companions would have been so anxious to get away from the paparazzi that they might have been driving above speed limits?
Away from them, you don't know what it's like being chased by them. It is harassment under the under the guise of we are the press, we are entitled, and when people are having a private moment, they should be allowed to have a private moment. And I've been in that situation, and they run red lights. It's you just think, my God, if any other person had experienced something like that, you'd think this guy's it's the pressure you're under is can be extreme.
What have you done to try to protect?
Sometimes puts the driver under pressure.
What have you done to try to protect your privacy?
Well, I've been in situations like this. I mean, you do what you can, and, you grin and bear it, and at times we pull over to police officers and you try to report it. And other times you try to appeal to their sense of decency and morality. But it can be very trying, and as I said before, I just think this is an absolute tragedy.
Why do you think that Princess Diana was a particular target of the paparazzi?
Well, I think it's obvious. You look at the kind of money that is generated for the newspapers and for these paparazzis. I mean, that's why.
What kind of money are we talking about?
Well, I think you'd have to the woman from the Globe said, $200,000 for her shots. I don't know how much they make. It can be substantial.
You say you want to see laws against...
It's distasteful that people are probably now looking for that guy who took those pictures to give him money. So he's part of the problem, and now he's going to make money off of it. I just... how does this... I just hope that no one will run any of those photographs.
You say you want to see laws on the book that would hem in the paparazzi. How would those laws work? Do you have any sense of how that might work?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, if when you're pursuing someone and chasing, I mean that's harassment. Limiting these kinds of things. I mean, I'm kind of very upset right now, obviously, but that's a different kind of conversation.
If we do learn definitively that a photographer was involved in this incident, was indeed involved in a chase of this car...
I think he should be held responsible. He has a responsibility in what has occurred, without question.
Mr. Cruz, thanks for joining us. If you could stand by on the phone for just a minute, we want to look at a report now about the background of Princess Diana's relationship with Dodi Al-Fayed.
This is CNN Breaking News.
I'm Lyndon Souls at CNN World Headquarters in Atlanta, where we continue to follow developments in the wake of a very tragic accident in Paris about 4.5 hours ago. Britain's Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales, was very seriously injured in a car accident in a tunnel that runs along the Seine River in Paris. Her companion, Dodi Al-Fayed, was killed. The chauffeur of the car, a security officer from the Ritz Hotel owned by the Fayed family, was also killed, and a bodyguard of Princess Diana was injured. CNN has learned from French police that the princess is said to be in grave condition, but they are not elaborating on the extent of her injuries at this point. Police would not say which hospital she is at, but the British ambassador and his wife, as well as the Minister of the Interior and the French police prefect, are with her at the hospital. Now, the accident itself happened shortly after midnight Paris time. That would be just after 6 p.m. Eastern time, in one of a number of tunnels that run along the Seine River at the Place d'Alma Bridge. We have reports that the princess's car was being pursued by paparazzi on motorcycles. That word from French police. They are not saying exactly how many motorcycles may have been in pursuit, but as you've heard a number of the eyewitnesses who happened upon the crash scene shortly after, they did see one or more photographers in the area. We were told also by CNN's Jim Bitterman that earlier there was no barrier separating the oncoming traffic, but you can clearly see some of the pylons there at the bridge. One of the eyewitnesses told us that apparently the car in which the princess was traveling bounced off the side of the wall. But again, there are very few details about the exact moment of the accident itself. Diana and Fayed apparently arrived in Paris Saturday afternoon and had dined at the Ritz Hotel. We do not know what their destination was to be following their travels later in the evening. Christopher Dickey is the Paris bureau chief for Newsweek. Christopher, can you give us some sort of bearing into the official police description of the princess's condition as it would relate to perhaps a description